Good morning or afternoon, everybody. This is yoga, online yoga with Via, and it is July 4th, Independence Day, July 4th, 2020. I'm going to stop my picture. This is a picture of me about 4 years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago. I'm on a three-wheeled motorcycle called the Spider, and which I don't drive. I'm in the passenger seat and behind there, but I was demonstrating the therapy balls in a bag that I'm wearing on my back to support my lumbar spine. Stopping the share, finding Kathy, and spotlighting her video, her video. We're going to start in the ordinary way. I hope you never get bored with this intro, because I think it's always good for us to slow down, breathe, and start. So here we are, just starting to watch your breath. Welcome yourself, mind, body, and spirit, to the virtual room. Remember why you're here. Just take a couple of native breaths. And then bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers, create a cradle for your occipital ridge, the back bottom of your skull. And the first thing we're going to do is a vagus nerve reset. So without moving anything except your eyeballs, shift your eyeballs to the right. And wait for a sigh, swallow, gulp, or yawn. Return to the center, and your eyeballs move to the left, shifty eyes. Waiting for an involuntary sigh, yawn, gulp, or swallow. Come back to center. Do this 2 more sets, right, left, right, left. This is always available to you, whenever you feel stressed out, actually, or you want to, pull back and find a little bit of calm. And whenever you're finished, stay there and start to do a few head ramps, just keeping your hands where they are and pressing the back of the base of your skull into your hands and the floor. And holding for 20 or 30 seconds. And then releasing. And repeat about 4 or 5 times. Think of what you're doing, what's happening on the inside. And then relax from that, finish up, and bring your hands beside your hips. We're going to do some Voluma breathing. This is being the inhale into thirds with a pause after each third. So inhaling, 1/3 of the lungs are filled up, pause. Inhale, 2/3 filled up, pause. And then exhale, inhale, the entire lungs are filled up. And then pause and give yourself or just a normal exhale. And repeat. One more breath. And then get ready for hypopressives, the basic hypopressive that we do. Remember, your heels are on the floor, your toes are in the air, your arms are hugging a tree in front of your chest, and then flip your hands so they're facing the ceiling, palms facing ceiling. And from here, well, first of all, activate your arms. So press palms into the sky and press your scapula, your shoulder blades into the floor. And from here, we're going to take 3 breaths and then hold the breath for 10 counts. I'll cue all of that. 3 breaths, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let your arms come by your side. You can wiggle them if you want. Wiggle your fingers. Extend your legs. We're going to do another shape, but it's the same hypopressive breath work. So cross your right ankle over your left. Bring your hands above your chest. Stack your palms with the left hand on top. Now bring your arms straight overhead. Now this is the shape. Nice job, Kathy. And we're going to do 3 breaths and then 10 count, no breath. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last breath, inhale and exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale and exhale. Switch sides. Left ankle over left, Oval. Arms stacked, right hand on top. Arms overhead. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hold your breath out. No breath. It's as if you were doing an inhale without a breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale and exhale. Stay here. We're going to do 3 or maybe 4 movements, supine. So bend your knees. I like to put my arms up in a cactus or cowboy pose, just because maybe you can feel this, it will help to open up the chest. If you can't do this, you could put towels underneath your forearm to allow them to rest on something. So I prefer that they not dangle. The other option is just put your hands by your hips. Yeah, like that, something like that. So now all we're going to do is this is a basic knee lift. What I'd like you to do is practice being very aware, breathing, and being slow and imagining what's happening at the hip joint. So starting on the right, just bring your knee towards your chest and then return it to the floor. And let's do that 5 times on this side, 5 more times on this side. Do it really slow and use a breath, an inhale going one direction and an exhale going the other. And the other thing I want you to do is notice what's happening inside your body at the hip joint. Especially although there could be something happening at the knee, although the knee isn't moving. This is actually good for the knee. Maybe this is a knee class. You know, with a couple of knee movements. And one more. Switch sides. These are just called bent knee leg lifts. They're a fundamental functional movement. If you're having trouble with your hips, if you're having trouble with walking with your feet straight forward, this might help. You're basically telling the brain, this is the way I want the hip to move in flexion and extension. And slower is better because the brain is able to listen to a slower movement. If you were doing this really, really fast, the brain wouldn't hear it anyway. And finish up, stay in the same position. Starting on the right, we're going to just open up. This is now abduction and adduction. Open up the knee, bent knee out to the side. So the trick here is to keep the other hip on the floor. So you might even want to put your hand on the top of your opposite hip and try to keep that on the floor. If you have to move your opposite leg and hip, you've gone too far. You need to make your movement a little smaller. And if you start to feel the hip flexors, which are at the crease in your groin, if you start to feel those muscles, then you've moved into a hip flexion, and that's not what we're doing here. You need to make the movement smaller. This is a hip rotation. You're using the inside and outside of the thigh muscle. So keep the pelvis still, keep the hips, well, let's see, not the hips still, I suppose, because the femur is definitely moving on the right. But you don't want to move the other side of the equation. Slowly, with breath. This is called bent knee. I call it bent knee side drops. And you can switch sides. Keep everything else still. Nothing's moving except the head of the femur is rotating the left femur in Kathy's case. And finish up, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stay here, but I'd like you to either put a pair of therapy balls, preferably the big ones, or a brick, preferably the small one.
You mean these?
Yes. Put it horizontal at as far down as you can go below your sacrum, but not on the tailbone. So just above the tailbone. No, you're going to put it.
Oh.
We're still doing hip work.
Oh, well, okay.
So as far down as you can go without being on your tailbone. And the other alternative, I think the small balls may not work well. I mean, you can decide for yourself. And if they don't, you can put a small brick underneath instead. Go ahead and bring your knees up into tabletop. Open up. So open out to the side. Yep. Yep. And then come on back. Lift your heels up a little bit, Kathy. So you're, oh, okay. And then out you go. Now, this is working on a muscle, a very unusual muscle, actually, that connects both to the hips, the pelvis, and the rotate. It's a hip rotator. So it's a hip rotator and also works at the pelvis. So this is not often exercised. You may start to feel shaky as you move, which is good as long as it's not painful. So you just open up and close, open up and close. So make sure that your knees are still bent. This is not a straight-legged position. This is bent knee at about 90 degrees. Open, close, open, close. And keep your legs so the heels and the knees stay lined up. So you don't. So some people I see keep their heels are almost to stay together and the knees open. But I want you to open both the knees and the heels. If it starts to feel shaky, this is a good thing. Obturator internus is the muscle we're working on. It's a hip rotator, but it also connects to the pelvis. It's a very unusual, it's the only hip rotator muscle that connects to the pelvis. So it's working with both hip rotation and pelvic floor. And then whenever you're ready, you can come down off of that and come into, come up into a seated, come up and sit in your chair. I think, well, looking for your chair straight forward, we'll see if what it looks like in terms of, helping people get the idea. So you're not going to need your brick, I don't think. So you're gonna do right leg, left leg, and the first, you might want to come up to the front of your chair. And the first, these are knee movements to help knee health. So the first one, you're starting on the right and just slide your heel out along the floor until it's straight. Your leg is straight. And then lift your leg up to parallel and then bend your knee and bring your foot down to the floor. Okay, try it again. Slide it out, lift, and now and bring it down to the floor. So do that 3 more times. Slide, lift, and bend. Slide, lift, and bend. So Kathy, if I were you, look at your feet and make sure that your feet are straightforward, parallel feet. The next one, we're going to do it differently, but this one, slide, lift, bend. Slide, lift, bend. Do it 2 more times. Slide, lift, bend. Try to stay in a good posture position so that you're not really moving anything else with this leg. Slide, lift, and bend. Other side, slide, lift, bend. Look at your toes. Make your foot a little bit more parallel and straightforward. Okay, you're going to feel pigeon-toed. I know you. Okay, now. Yes. Slide, lift, and bend your knee and drop your foot. Slide, lift, bend, bend, slide, lift, bend. One more. Slide, lift, and bend. You can wiggle if you want, because that was kind of a lot of work. I'm happy to see you wiggling your toes. Now we're going to do this next one. You are going to externally rotate to start, and this is another knee work, starting on the right. So the left leg isn't externally rotated, but the other one is. So go ahead and extend your leg. Just lift it all the way up.
Okay, hold on.
So this is similar to the other one, but it's an external rotation, a deliberate external rotation, lifting and then lowering. There's no knee bend, no knee bend.
Oh.
Well, I guess you when you come back, you do lift it up. There, so you should externally rotated, lift, hold. If you want to, you can press on the top of your thigh and you might feel a little more movement. Hold for a bit and then come on down. You do end up bending your knee actually, but it's not as much a feature as the other one. It's just how you get out of it. Hold for 20 or 30 seconds. And then come on down. 2 more times. So actually come up with an external rotation, Kathy. Don't externally rotate when you, so you're already, okay there, come on up. Yes. up. And so Kathy and many other people actually easily externally rotate because this is where they're used to actually walking in a duck position. So see how easy it is for her to do that. But what you're really working on is the inside thigh muscle. Oh, and that comes to the knee, and it's the inside of the knee you're working on, strengthening that muscle. One more. Up. So you may want to sit on the edge of your chair. You don't want to be leaning on your chair, that's for sure. Up, and then hold, and then return. Other side. Did you feel it, Kathy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Up she goes. Hold straight leg, straight out in front of you. So this is not an effort to get your leg up by your face. It's just straight out in front of you. And sitting tall, holding, and returning. So make it slow, make it easy. Well, it may be, for some people, it might not be easy. If this bothers your knee, you either adjust your position, adjust your rotation, or don't do it. Do the other one that we just did. Come on down. Go up. Stay there. You can press on the thigh if you want to. And then come on down. Do it 2 more times. Up. So often if you have knee problems, the problem is on the inside of the knee and then all the way up. That muscle that runs from the inside of the knee all the way up to your hip. And that's what we're working on here. Last one. Yes. And come on down. Let's go ahead and do some ankle circles. Okay, from here, you can either just extend your leg, or you can cross one leg over the other in a figure 4 and then circle. The nice thing about crossing your ankle over is you're also opening your hips. So you're strengthening your ankles and you're opening your hips, because anytime you're in a figure 4, you're stretching the glutes and the hips. So crossing your legs, tightly isn't as beneficial like that. It's not, but crossing your legs open like this is actually, although I'm sure that all of us as girls were told never to do that when we were young women, but this is a great move for piriformis, for anything tightness in the hips, anything that tightens in the hips. And do both directions. And switch sides, figure 4 on the other side. And come back down. And let's do monkey toes, which we did last class. So your leg, extend your leg, slide your leg out, your right leg out.
That's right. Okay.
Lift your toes toward your nose, dorsiflexing. Now curl your toes. And while they're curled, drop them towards the floor. release them and spread. Now grab again, like as if you're grabbing a ball. And then while you're grabbing, come on up to dorsiflexion again. No, just keep your foot out. Yeah. There, and release, and then start again. Grab, drop, release, grab, lift, release, grab, drop, release, grab, lift, release. If you get toe cramps, pause and shake it out and see if you can, and wait. You don't have to be doing this with your toes cramping. Although it may cause, if you have immobile toes, you may get cramps when you first start doing this. Monkey toes. Moving monkey toes, I guess. Go ahead and switch sides.
Not as flexible.
Not as flexible. Yeah, one side might be different than the other one. Remember to release at the bottom and then start again. Curl, lift, release, curl, lift, lower. Come on up. So it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And one more. And then come up to standing. And we're going to do the three-way ankle stretch with the half round. If you don't have a half round, maybe you have a brick, a yoga block or brick, or maybe you have a book or a rolled up towel. Something to create a lift underneath the front of your foot. Okay, so start. So you're really on your right. If you're on your right foot, you're on the left side, left end of the half round. Drop your heel. So the ball of your foot is on the top. The heel is on the floor behind the half round. This in itself is a great stretch for the calf and the Achilles tendon and the actually underneath the foot, lots of things, and the ankle. And now we're going to do a series of ankle moves. So just bring the ankle forward. So you're flexing the ankle. The knee will follow, but this is not a knee movement. And if it gets into the knee, you've gone too far. So just flex the ankle toward the toes and do that about 6 times. And then when you're finished, we're going to do the same thing, except you're going to angle your flexion slightly to the inside of the foot, the inside of your foot. So the foot is still straight forward, but you're angling the flexion, the forward flexion, toward the inside of your foot. Same rules apply though. It's not a knee movement, it's an ankle movement. See if you can stay in good posture while you're here. You might want to do like Kathy, be facing a wall and then touching the wall. But you can take a sneak peek at your toes occasionally. After that, come back to central or neutral. And then this time, the flexion goes towards the outside of the foot. So the foot stays forward, but the flexion angles off to the outside of the foot. This is probably the least amount of flexion you're going to find in your ankles. Some people won't find very much ankle flexion at all. So, and if that's the case, this is the exercise for you, because this is going to create both mobility and flexibility, mobility and stability, strength in your ankles. If you have a tendency towards ankle issues, this is the exercise for you. And keep breathing and enjoying it. And then whenever you're finished, switch sides. So the left foot goes on the, okay. The heels down on the floor. The front of the foot is lifted up onto something. If you have a half round, that's the best thing. But you can improvise otherwise. Just know that just standing like this is actually a great movement for the calf and the ankle and the Achilles tendon. But now you're going to start to lean forward from your ankle flexion, forward ankle flexion. The word flexion is used for the movement that brings two bones, the joint closer together, the joint angle closer together, and then extension farther apart. So we're flexing now. In this case, because it's the foot, it's called dorsiflexion, actually. But don't ask me why. It could just be called flexion. After you've done 6 or so, then the next movement is toward the inside of the foot. So the flexion, you just make it a little more angled to towards the inside of the foot. So now towards the outside of the foot. This is the smallest range of motion you're going to get, just because of the way the foot, the architecture of the ankle and the foot. But still worth doing. And then close up here, finish that. And now the next thing we're going to do is toe walking and heel walking. Did in the last class. So preferably on your mat or a carpet. Just walk on your toes. I'm going to time for 20 seconds, actually. Find my timer. I'm just about to put it on for 20 minutes. I think that would be too long. Okay, go ahead and start. On the toes. You can walk back and forth. It can be small. Make sure you're up on your toes and in good posture.
Yeah.
So if you're inclined to lean over, please stop. Go ahead and do heels now. I like these because I think they're very playful. Walking on toes and heels. Toes now. Whoops. No, don't stop. I just didn't. The bell rang again because I didn't push it to off. Okay, heels. And stop. Come on down to the floor, to hands and knees. I should have given you time to walk and just assess what we've done, because we did a lot of things that kind of could have affected you. Maybe if you're still standing, go ahead and walk and see how that is, or not, or yes. So walk and see if you can notice any difference. Of course, we didn't do the pre-test, but notice what it feels like with all that knee and ankle focus, basically. Okay, now onto your hands and knees. And what I want you to do is practice plank, but you don't have to. What I'd like you to do is one leg goes out, right leg out, and then come back and the left leg goes out. So
Toe or top?
the toe. No, the toes are forward.
Okay.
Yeah, toes are forward. And then keep going. So make it into a moving pattern. So one leg goes back and then the other leg goes back. So now lift your knees and see if you can do it with a lifted knee. So when you bring your knee forward, let's see how to say this. I have to try it for myself. So one leg goes straight, then lift the other knee up, the bent knee up. Lift the bent knee up and now bring it back. No, not you, huh? And then bring the other one forward. And now bring it back and bring the other one forward. It's more like that. It's a lifted knee. So this is hard for Kathy. So just so you guys know. And now if you want to, you can just come back into a regular plank and see if you can hold that. Now for Kathy, so Kathy, you start at the beginning and just do this. Yep, just do that. And then the next step is what we just did after that, where you're lifting your knees. And then the last step is to bring both legs back and come into a plank for about 20 seconds. And this is good core work and it's good balancing. And it's going to be good for some of the other things we do, like the deep lunge, which I really like for hip opening. So, but first people have to get enough strength in their arms. This is really core work and arm strength, because you're holding your body with your arms. Moving plank. When you're finished practicing some version of the plank, come down onto your belly. We're going to do a back extension, our basic back extension with 3 levels. So, but the first thing I want you to do is fold your arms in front of you, stack your arms in front of you and rest. And breathe. So this is a resting position, but it's a really nice one. Well, and it's a really nice one because you can do belly breathing here. So taking your breath all the way down into your belly, inhaling, and you get you get to talk to the floor. Your belly expands, but only so much because of the floor. So just belly breathing. It's called crocodile breathing when you're prone, and belly breathing. And big, deep, all belly breaths are all deep because you've taken your breath all the way, taken your breath all the way down towards the belly. It doesn't really go into the belly, but it affects the belly. Whenever you're ready, get ready for back extension. We're going to do 3 levels. If you can't do level 2 and 3, just stay with level 1. So the first level, so your arms are beside your hips, palms up. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift your chest, your head, your arms. Stay here or try to come up a little bit more. And then inhale to prepare to return, and then exhale to return. Nice, that's level 1. Level 2, it'll be level 2, we do both levels, level 1 and 2. So level 2 is airplane. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, level 1. Inhale to prepare, and exhale, arms out in an airplane. Stay here, take a couple breaths. Lift a little higher if you can, if it doesn't bother your back. And then inhale to return. Inhale, exhale to return, sorry. We're going to do all 3 now if you can. Otherwise, stick with 1 and 2 or 1. Inhale to prepare, and then exhale to lift. Stay here for a breath or 2. Lift up a little higher if you can, if it doesn't bother your back. Take an inhale to prepare to go to airplane. Exhale, airplane. Stay here, take a breath or 2. Lift a little bit more if you can. And then inhale to prepare for Superman. And then exhale and come into Superman. Oops, and there goes Kathy. I exhausted her. So she did what every self-caring person would do. She came out of it earlier than I cued it. That was okay. So I think that was good enough for that. Let's go ahead and put your arms out in a T. I hope you like this one as much as I do for what it does. Look to the right. Your legs, lift your right leg and bring it over the left. And your hips can move as much as they want, but your shoulders and your armpits and your arms stay on the floor. You can bend your knee if you want. If you can't do this, if this bothers your lower back, first of all, you could make it smaller. But if you can't do it at all, just bring your legs back. Go ahead and bring your legs back, Kathy, and stay here and alternate glute squeezes. So that'll get your some of your lower back and leg muscles stronger, so you can do this. Go ahead and look to the others. Kathy, come back to and switch sides. Okay, look left. The left leg comes up and over. So keep your your left shoulder on the floor. Mm-hmm. Stay here and breathe. And come back. And one more time, right and left. So look right. The right leg lifts and goes over the left leg. And switch sides. This is going to help with posture. It's going to help with loosening up the upper back, the thoracic spine, which most of us need all the time. Come on back. Find your way onto your back with balls. We're going to do one little ball movement, one therapy ball.
Which size?
Either size. If you have a big one or a small one, you can choose. We're just going to do a little bit of glute release. So lie on your back. Put your whatever therapy ball you have in the middle of your buttocks, your right buttocks. There's lots of things you can do here. You can just do nothing except let the weight of your body rest on the ball. Or you can try to roll side to side a little bit. And, or you could use your heels to move up and down a bit. Now, I think this is a hard one to do. So another alternative for this kind of movement would be just to hug your knee and then straighten your leg. Hug knee and then straighten leg and hug knee. So can you see how it does a similar movement? Across the ball, across the glutes. And you can make a little circle if you want. And then switch sides. We're running out of time, so I can't tell you any more of these kinds of tricks, and there are some other places we could go, but we'll do that another time. So remember, you go side to side for a minute, and then back and forth. But you may want to do that back and forth with a knee hug and a straight leg. Circle, make a little circle. Okay, that's it. Find your way onto you're on your back. Find your way into your most comfortable supine position. Your legs can be extended or bent, knees bent, or legs up on a chair. We're just going to close in the ordinary fashion with the 61-point guided meditation. I'm going to mention 61 body points or parts, and you're going to pay attention to those points as I mention them. Starting with your breath, breathing in and breathing out. You may want to put a washcloth over your eyes or a blanket over your body. Bring your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. That completes the 61-point guided meditation. Just bring yourself back to an awareness of your breath. And just bring your arms overhead. Start to stretch your body. Legs in one direction, arms in the other. Stretch and wiggle. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your wrists and your ankles. Hug your right knee to your chest. And then your left. Both knees to the chest. And then rock from side to side. All the way, big side to side sweep. This is great for the lower back, among other things. And then whenever you're ready, roll all the way over into a fetal position. And using your bottom arm as a pillow, stay here for a breath or two. That's to keep you from getting dizzy as you come up to a seated position. Bring yourself up to seated using your top hand. Find your own specific floor seated. Unmute yourself, please. Find your best floor seated position. And we're going to close with Namaste. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart in prayer pose. Lift your occipital ridge at the back of your skull, base of your skull, and then bobble or nod your head forward over the top of your cervical spine. Don't bend your spine. Just bowing to each other, acknowledging each other, remembering that we are all one. And we'll close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.